So I'm addressing some hot takes that I have found on the National Geographic Instagram post for whether your genes carry your family's past trauma, and I came across this one. Mendel would be turning in his grave with this Nat Geo bullshit. Well, I'm the first person to call out that this is a misleading headline, but mostly because the content is put behind a paywall. So it's more difficult for people to then read on and clarify and understand what might first seem eye-catching and what the nuance then behind it is. But invoking Mendel here might not be exactly what this commenter would have wanted to do to dismantle this argument, because the changes that they are talking about in the DNA are epigenetic rather than genetic. And Mendel, who was operating in the mid-1800s, who was a contemporary of Darwin, who almost certainly read Darwin, but there's no real evidence that Darwin saw Mendel's work. He understood that there were possibly some hereditary units that were being passed down in his famous pea crossing experiments. But he had absolutely no concept of DNA to begin with. And given that epigenetics wasn't even coined as a term until the 1940s, which is nearly 100 years later, he had absolutely no idea about what epigenetics is either. The other thing to know about Mendel is that, yes, he was a monk, and he himself experienced quite a high level of sensitivity to stress. And he reports in the autobiographical material that we have that he feels extremely physically sick from psychological stress. So when he goes to help the sick and goes into all the hospitals, he is so affected by what he sees there and by how it made him feel that he spends around about 42 days, I think, in bed to try to recover from this. And this is why the parish pushed him more towards doing science and teaching, because he did not enjoy helping sick people. Basically, I think that was too stressful for him. So he almost certainly would have wanted to know the modern perspective on how stress affects us and how that could possibly be inherited.